I try to give you good content, and it's not always easy when you're in the thick of a project like this. But the reality is, two things about this channel: it's about spending the day here in the shop with whatever I'm doing, but it's also about sharing those painful details that a lot of other channels just skip over. Today, we're back on Fun Destruct. Hopefully, it's things that you can take and learn from and apply to the projects that you're working on. If nothing else, you can at least laugh at me for what I'm doing, so there's something in it for pretty much everybody. Stick around. We're back on the rear suspension. I'm Mike. You're watching My Car's Shop. In our last episode, we had designed and fabricated all of, or at least cut all of the pieces for the front spring mount, and we had gotten things measured out. We are at 116.5 inches right now. I'm really comfortable with that. The factory wheelbase was 116. I'm okay with it being a half inch longer. I've also gotten today, other than the fact that it's been a whole weekend of shop blitzing, and I'll share that with you in a minute. I got the other side all cut up and ready to rock and roll all night and party on rare occasion. So today, one of the things I need to do is clean up some details that I'll share with you, and I'm going to drag the welder out. We're going to get things tacked up just a little bit here and there. Our engineering cat is running around checking everything, making sure it's good, so that's a good thing. So we got a little cleanup to do on aisle 3 here. My angle here is off just a little bit, so I want to straighten that out so we can slip this in. It's the same thing on the one on that side that fell off apparently when I went in to eat lunch, but it's no surprise because these magnets are not real strong for holding that stuff. So I think that's what we're going to do, and then what I want to do is go ahead and just tack weld the spring, the mount together without attaching it to the frame yet. So I'm not necessarily ready to weld it solid, but I do want to kind of get it all tacked together and so forth. So let's start out by getting this straightened up on this one, and then we'll move around to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, I'm really comfortable with that. That looks good. So yeah, and now see we fit right down in here too, so that's much better. I like the way that all fits together now. The only thing more ideal would have been at this, like I've been able to weld in there, but I still probably can when this is off, but I'm not going to be that worried about it. But it looks good. It's got just a little twist to it, but that's okay. I'm a little twisted too, so good. So I think the thing to do is to get the welder over here now and just get some of this kind of just roughly tacked together. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. So let's do that. It's going to take me a minute to dig that out because it's over there and I'm over here. So I ground this one down now and got it looking pretty close. It needs to raise up just a little bit, but oh yeah, I just realized that I don't have as much depth here. So I guess I need to trim off a bit. So let me do that and get this closer into here. Otherwise, yeah, it's not lining up right. So yep, that's why we go over it. Okay, let's go take a peek. I screwed one thing up I gotta fix. don't know if I'll fix it today or not, but I just realized that I didn't push this back here far enough that way. You can see where that one's at, and this one is not as far back, so I need to change that. I want more engagement here. So yeah, and then the only other thing I need to do is make the piece of 2x3 box that's going to go across there. I don't know that I'm going to do that today. Um, yeah, I need to think about it. I ended up with a little gaposis up here also, but no big deal. I just fell welded it. But it's looking pretty good. You know, nothing is square yet. Obviously, I want to take all of these off and do my usual routine of MIG, TIG. You know, make sure I got good penetration. I still got 2 more holes to drill on both sides for the upper spring perch, and I need to get this determined what I'm doing back here for the rear spring mount. I don't know. I can't really just bolt to this because this spring plate is wider. So I may put a piece of plate steel on there. I don't know. I got to figure that out yet. There's a big temptation for me to just weld these on there. That's probably not wise. I need to take all of this apart, and because well, that's nice. Yeah, we definitely need to take that apart. That spring, I didn't realize that spring shackle was shot. So we'll have to get new bushings for this, I guess. But you know, it is what it is. Sorry, I wasn't clear. That's shot there. But I need to take the shackles out and spin them. I think. No, that's the way they should be, with the nuts on the inside so that the shackle can pull out that way. No, so that's not needing to be changed. If I do that, then I don't need to have that rear mount bolt uh, on and off, I guess. I could just weld it on there. So we may do that. I don't know. I've got to check my spring location. I know my distance here and here is different than my distance in here. And that's simply because I haven't measured it out where it needs to be. This spring is probably twisted. That one I think is about right from what I remember. But that rear cross member is not welded in yet either. So it's all just grabbing a handful of air right now. But I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. I've got some more dimensioning to do. And I can tell this one's not square. I'm guessing the other one isn't quite square either. So we got a little jiggling in things to get things worked around, but we will make sure that our dimension from the front of this plate to the back of the frame is identical on both sides, and we know about where it needs to be. So we're in good shape. Was here this weekend, and he came up yesterday, and we got some stuff done. Mostly, there was all kinds of stuff staged here and over here, and I got all that stuff hauled up. He handed it to me, and we got all that stuff that was staged hauled up. All the stuff that was here out. I got to deal with that bench because if you remember, there used to be a brown wooden cabinet here. That's a lot of the stuff that was in there. But we were also able to put these 2 stainless steel cabinets up that my buddy Chris brought, and I've got those loaded up now. So we've got some more nice storage here, and I created a little dingle dangle for the lock, and I've got all of my electrical. Well, that's carburetor stuff, but these are my battery chargers and just some miscellaneous stuff there. I'm going to take you over to the other one, show you what's in there. This was also stuff that was in the brown cabinet. Today I went through and cleaned up the top of the stove, the bench, the welding bench. I still need to do the toolbox, but so in here, again, same thing. And in here is all of my electrical stuff, soldering, all that. That's all electrical. And then I just got my masks stuck up in there. So it's a winner, chicken dinner. It's progress. The other thing I need to do is get this one tacked up. I'm not sure I'm up for that today. I think that needs to be its own project. Um, Same thing, with that. We got it all done up. That one's actually on there, other than it's not welded to the frame yet. Um, but the cool thing is, this really is not far from being able to be back on its own feet, which I'm pretty excited about. Get this done, picked up. Well, let me explain. The beauty of the way this chassis table is designed, and I'm going to admit that it's more by accident than anything. Um, the outside rails are separate from the inside rails. The bulk of everything is actually on the inside rails. The back rails that we slid back don't really have hardly anything on them. That plate, the back legs, of course. So what we can easily do is I've got some jack stands that are about this tall, and we can pick the back of this thing up if we want, and we can take the back of the chassis table apart and then pick up the front with the cherry picker, get the front of the chassis table out from underneath there, carefully let it down, and then let the back down, and it's on its own feet. So that's pretty cool. So I got some thinking to do on it yet. We haven't welded the frame together yet. That needs to be done. Um, but it's coming together amazingly fast, and that's really, really cool. I'm really excited to get this brace in here, partly because there's a temporary one right here that's going to probably interfere with the motor transmission once it's in. I was looking at where the transmission crossmember mount is, and it should be right here, um, which means the front of the motor, of course, is going to be up here. I have my other K-frame down there so that I can locate the motor properly. And the way I'll plan to do that is just pick up that K-frame and temporarily attach it to the frame, set the motor in so that the offsets and everything are exactly the way they need to be. And then I can drop that K-frame out and build the motor mounts for this. That should work slick. So it's like a jig basically for the motor mounts. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have decisions to make. Like, do I want to go through and do everything that needs to be done to that front K member that's underneath the radiator support, or do I want to just get it back on its feet and then do that stuff after it's off? I don't know yet. I have time to think about that. Obviously, I'm exuberant and excited to get it off the table, but I don't want to be dumb and go at it, too fast when it's so easy to work on right here. Like going through and doing the front ball joints, all of the control arm bushings. It probably makes sense to just pick the front of the frame up, rip the K frame out from underneath it, and get that all cleaned up and cut up all the stuff that needs to be cut off of it. Get it painted and stuff. But there's welding that needs to be done on the bottom side of all of this too. So um, there's just decisions that are going to have to be made on how and when and where I'm going to do all that stuff. But this is middle of February, and we have actually 40-degree weather all week. It gives me hope and encouragement that spring is coming, and we'll be able to start doing some work outside. So that's cool. Beck was just out here checking the progress, and she said it still looks like a pile of junk. It does. Yeah, I get it. She was commenting on how it looks like it's so much longer than all the rest of the cars in the shop. It's 2 feet shorter than the Challenger and about the same length as the Duster. It's 14 foot from the front of the frame to the back of the frame. The box will probably stick back a little bit more than that. So the cab should be like right in here probably. So, and the thing is, so far, there's been really no insurmountable obstacles on this project. I could run into something here that at any time yet. We're still in the fabrication design stage. I've not done this exact build before. So I could run into a problem with torsion bars, let's say, and we're done because we can't resolve that problem. Do I think that's going to happen? Obviously not. If I did, I wouldn't be doing it this way. But to me, that's part of the fun. If this front end doesn't work out, okay, I'm out the time, but I learned something. And I guess to say, if you're doing a project, whether it's one that's literally building everything from scratch like this, or even a project of your own, like the Challenger, where you're just replacing stuff or repairing stuff, you got nothing to lose. Try, experiment, think outside the box. Obviously, think it through and make sure that it's safe. But that's the key thing: is make sure it's safe and then make it done, and even more so, have fun. If you're learning in the process of all of that, even if you screw something up, winner, winner, chicken dinner, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, um, yeah. Let me regroup my thoughts here, and I'll be right back. I remembered that I had one of these cheap little plastic clamps on here, so I wanted to put a nice stout set of welder's vice grips on there, because this plastic clamp is not going to hold that much tension in perpetuity, so that's better. And the more I think about it, I really do think I'm just going to go and weld those on there. I like that idea. So I got to figure that out. The other thing, this may be the next episode. I got the spring plates, I got my U-bolts, and I need to um, take my U-bolts and re-drill my spring plates to fit for the 3-inch axle tubes, because this 8 1/4 rear end has bigger axles. Um, I do got to dig out the backing plates, drums, and all that stuff for this too. I have it all. Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, I want to do one more thing. We're still sitting on our jack, and I wanted to do this. We spring, we sproing, we bounce up and down. Whoops. Put too much pressure on my rear cross member. I should have known better. All better. I forgot that was only zip tied back there when I pushed down on it really hard. Point is, the rear suspension is working really well, other than the fact that it ripped off the rear cross member that's not welded on yet. So I'm tired. It's been a long weekend. I think that should do it for this one. My next steps will be to get these sub assemblies done for both sides, and then we will get them exactly positioned on here where they need to be. Um, we will also get the rear spring mount situation resolved the way we're going to. So there's going to be a lot coming. Um, and I need to get the right front upper control arm / shock tower built like we did the left front. So I appreciate you dragging, or appreciate you coming along, not dragging along, on this project. I really wanted to share in detail building a tube chassis. Yes, we know that this one's really simple because we didn't have to have any hoops and stuff. None of that is really hard anyway. I'm just trying to keep this as much like the factory frame as possible, which was perfectly flat, simple, easy. Um, yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go in and relax. It's Sunday night, and got a crazy week coming, so I need to chillax a little bit. So that'll do it. We'll catch you on the next one. I appreciate you being here. Drop your comments down there. If you have any questions, let me know. We have channel memberships for as little as $5 a month, and you get access to all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. One more thing, because it is important. I don't want you to forget. Whoa!